And we are live.
We are live. Thanks for having me there, my brother.
No, thank you. First of all, this is long overdue, Matty.
Yeah, man.
We've
been talking about this since what, like 1987? Right?
Exactly.
It's been a while.
Been a long time coming.
It's been a while. I don't think I had any gray hairs when we were deciding to do this project. Shit.
Yeah, a couple coming in. A couple coming in. You know. So, guys, welcome to the Big Guilty Cigar Podcast. I'm your host, Innocent, joined by my guest today, Matty Rock. I'm pretty sure if you guys are in the cigar community, you guys definitely know who Matty Rock is. Food expert, coffee expert, cigar expert, pretty much almost everything expert, a jack of like all trades and more.
No, you're making it sound like people would want to be me on purpose. Hell no.
Well,
that's why no one ever kidnapped me, bro. No one wants this.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to travel schedule, but you know, you got a pretty awesome life.
Appreciate you, my brother.
You know. So, if you guys have any questions, you guys know the routine. If you have any questions for Matty, let them know your questions. So, let's go back to Queens, New York.
That's where I was hatched, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I was hatched. Mama Dukes was from the Bronx.
Nice.
Grandma was from the Bronx.
Oh wow.
Great grandma banged out in the Bronx, and then my dad, you got off the boat Belgian. So you can see how well that goes together, right? Off the boat guy from Brussels and crazy angry lady from the Bronx.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So I was conceived in the Bronx, but born in Astoria General.
Mm-hmm. So Matty, when did you get your start? So originally, if most people don't know, you started off as a fighter.
Yeah. So I never went professional. Wasn't good enough, but I dabbled in Muay Thai and everything else. We promoted and trained fighter Brutal Brendan Barrett back in the day. He won himself a couple of belts. And I remembered I'm old and fragile, so I stopped doing that because I don't like getting hit or beat up anymore. But the real promotion side probably started when I did the original Rock the Galaxy Battle of the Bands.
Oh, wow.
So that was, Jesus, I think 32 years in business, Rock the Galaxy. So since when I was a kid, it got started up. So we used to do stuff up in Vernon Valley before all those condos and everything moved up there. So we did some Battle of the Bands over at where Hugh Hefner's place was. It's now like all brand new condos and stuff.
Wow, that's insane. That is insane. So, you know, I know before, like, you know, before you got sober, you used to be heavy into clubs and you knew a lot of people as far as, but also too, one thing I don't know is that you're an expert when it comes to whiskeys, liquor, you know, like.
Yeah, before I quit drinking, I really got deep into it. Like I said, I had the club. So it was one of the passions of mine, except I probably took the passion a little bit too overboard. And for those of you that don't know me, Inno knows the story, is I stopped drinking after I buried everybody else that was drinking. So pretty much my whole clique, I outlived them all. And the joke was Matty Rock's crazy. Matty Rock will die first. That was the joke, right? Mm-hmm. Then you fast forward a couple of years as Matty Rock is the only person left standing. So crazy, man. Crazy stuff.
It's one thing I find interesting is that you gave it up so long ago, but you can smell and know if it's really
I mean,
good.
there'll never be anything like being able to taste it, but man, you can smell a bouquet and anything, and you close that one nostril, you smell it back, and you let something air out, you'll smell, like I said, if you have a bourbon, you know, a finely aged bourbon, you'll smell all those different notes. You'll smell some of the oakiness or maybe some caramel or things like that. So the nose, for the most part, still works with that without drinking. But, you know, nothing's ever going to replace being able to sit down, sit back and actually taste test it on your own.
So, you know, going from that, you know, like most people know you from being at the Brown Smokers at Jewish State. So how did you and JD hook up back in the day?
Shit, man. So I met JD right around 20 years ago, and it's funny how you brought up the fighting. So at that time, the person that we were training was actually looking for some sponsorship. So I'd run into JD, you know, a couple times casually at events before, but we never really hung out or talked. I shot him a message, said, hey, dude, I don't know if you guys are interested in sponsoring a fighter. If you want, Drew stayed on the trunks and everything. This guy's going to be a beast. He's going to win some belts, which he did. I was like, what do you think of maybe sponsoring a fighter? Mm-hmm. So all the way back then, I met up with him at the Atlantic City Food and Wine Festival.
Wow.
And like I said, I think that's 18 years ago. It worked out that they never went, they didn't want to go along with the fighter. But JD's like, hey, I heard that you're a promoter. You have a lot of fun. I know you're a cigar guy too. And he's like, it's like, yo, man, maybe things could work out with us. And fast forward, almost 2 decades later. Yeah, man, JD and I still going strong, doing events, doing barn smokers. This Friday got flying out for Tour de Liga in Glendale, Arizona. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy ride, dude.
So if you're in the Arizona area, say what's up to Matty.
I'll be there. I know there's Wiener Schnitzel restaurants there, so it sounds dirty, but feed me Wiener Schnitzel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said it. That's right. But yeah, I'll be in on Friday, probably after the event. Spend some time out in the wilderness in Sedona on Sunday, get inside with my nature Matty Rock self.
Mm-hmm. So, going back to you said you linked up with JD. So what got you into cigars? What was your first experience?
So, my first experience with cigars, like I said, since I used to drink and I was a derelict, in Montreal, you can drink legally at 18 years old. So we got a bunch of the guys together, headed up to Montreal, and I'd always seen people smoking cigars. Thought it was a real classy thing, cool thing. I heard that you get Cuban cigars up there. I was like, oh, man, let's go up there. We're going to be a bunch of badasses, smoke some Cuban cigars, drink some Molson Triple X's, get fucking wrecked, have a great time. So according to plan, got up there, went into the Peel Street cigar shop right across from the visitor center in Montreal. Went into there. I speak French poorly because since my dad is Belgian, proceeded to, say, hey, me and my guys, we want 3 Cuban cigars, please. And what happened is they let us know how much those cigars were. We didn't have? We did not have any Cuban cigars because none of us had enough money to buy one of them collectively together. Mm-hmm. So we were real classy guys that night. And we had Robert Burns in the tube. That was one of my first big boy cigars. It wasn't a White Owl or a blunt. So we proceeded to go smoke our Robert Burns cigars, puke our fucking brains out. And the love affair never ended, man. 30 years later, still smoking cigars. But that's the truth and how it started.
So Robert Burns, this is the same Robert Burns that smoked 11 cigars today? No, that's George Burns.
That's George Burns. No, Robert Burns, I would have to look online to go see what these tubes look like. So they're thinking they were probably these machine-made cigars. I'm they're in tubes. They at least look classy. We're classy fucking guys.
Exactly.
Let's go get these tubes. So that, I have that vivid memory. We're thinking cool as hell, drinking our Molson Triple X's, inhaling cigars and coughing far much more than we were supposed to. And then, like I said, then puking our guts out for the next couple hours. But never look back after that,
Never. So, what's a couple cigars from back in the day that you, when you first started, that you were still around right now?
So when I really got, serious smoking cigars, what I smoked back then is I loved Jamaican tobacco. So back in the day, in the 90s, I was smoking Royal Jamaican cigars. I was smoking Temple Halls. I love that flavor profile on the Jamaican tobacco, man. And I miss even today, I miss the shit out of those sticks. Started smoking Don Diego's. I think in the late 90s they had the Don Diego Playboys. I used to smoke those. I remember when Lou Rothman still owned JR Cigars. He got me smoking Casablanca cigars, which was just some of their house-made cigars, Connecticut wrapper, light, creamy, inexpensive. I really dug those.
I'm sorry. Hello? Okay, is the door open? The door should be open. I told my mom to leave the door open for you. All right, no problem. All right. Sorry about that, Matty.
That's right. That was the commercials to pay the bills.
Exactly.
Got to pay the bills, kid.
Yeah, so just remind you, this show is sponsored by We Don't Give a Fuck Records. So we don't give a fuck about you or them Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm a Jets fan. Yeah. Can we not talk about football on this podcast? That would be pretty helpful.
Wow. Skinny Money in the building.
Yo, what's up?
What's going on? Oh, he said, wow, I haven't heard of those brands mentioned in a long time.
Yeah, I'm old as shit, so yeah. So I smoked all that stuff. There was a Honduran plant that was called Legions. I used to smoke Legions. I could go on and some of the old stuff. They used to have a cigar called Jose Marti, which I think they still have today. That's only Nicaraguan, but back in the day they had a Dominican Jose Marti and a Nicaraguan Jose Marti. I used to smoke those.
Yeah, hello.
More bill pays.
Okay, no problem. All right, I'll make a call now. Bye. Wow.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm sorry, guys. So if you guys don't know, my heat's out, so I'm getting my heat fixed. So I'm talking to the plumber to go and fix everything for my boiler to be working, so I get heat in this cold ass New Jersey winter. So I'm working on that right now. So pardon the interruptions.
We'll allow it. We'll let it know. Get some heat.
Yeah, a lot of heat. You know. So, hello? Yeah, so, yeah.
But yeah, so those
What's that song?
now get some elevator music going in the background. No, you know what song I'm going to make you play. Fuck this shit, I'm out. That song's coming. It's coming, but yeah.
Oh my God. He says, typical Cowboys, salute to the... No, I'm not going to read the rest of that comment. Keep it to yourself.
I'm a Jets fan. I don't believe in football.
Yeah.
Ping pong.
Fuck you, Hugo.
Well, shit. That's a nice greeting. Jeez,
hey,
bro.
listen, the other people know that he's a fucking chihuahua.
Oh shit. I like the negativity. It's a good way to start out on Monday. I like it.
Yeah, so just going, you're bringing up all of these brands, and some people know what happened with Jamaican tobacco and how come it's not used anymore.
Yeah, man, that wound up being like an ugly page in everybody's history for that, because what wound up happening, there were massive labor disputes. A lot of people don't know that smoke Macanudo today. Macanudo is out of the Dominican Republic, but back in the day, Macanudo was out of Jamaica. That's when I was actually still smoking Macanudos. So there were massive labor disputes and fights and workers not getting paid, and basically that came down to the entire.
Yeah, open the door, Mo.
After these messages,
you heard me?
We'll be right back.
Yeah. Just open the door. All right. Bye. All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah. Look, this show is about this man's heat getting fixed. That's what we got today, kids. But as I was saying, so what wound up happening is after all the labor disputes and unpaid labor and everything else, kind of went to shit down there in Jamaica. Everybody kind of burned off the fields, and people in Jamaica, obviously, you're not paying your workers, weren't too keen on tobacco anymore. So Macanudo moved their facilities over to the Dominican Republic. You don't see an awful lot of Jamaican tobacco anymore, which, like I said, kind of bums me out, because Royal Jamaican was totally my jam, and Temple Hall was my jam. And again, back then, I was smoking Jamaican Macanudos. Totally dug them, man.
And because I believe now that I think it's Alec Bradley kind of has their version of a Jamaican cigar right now, right?
Haven't smoked it. I know there's a cigar brand out called Royal Jamaica. I have not tried those yet. Honestly, I should check out to see just how much Jamaican tobacco is actually in them. I'd be interested in finding that out. But like I said, you really you don't see it anymore. It's not really a big thing. You'll hear hints of it. I think Nicholas had a cigar. Maybe it was the Upsetter. I think. Right, that had some Jamaican tobacco in it. But again, you don't really find much Jamaican tobacco unless you happen to stumble upon an old stash of it.
What is your favorite tobacco? You smoked a lot of it.
Geez. Hey, that's so hard, man. I mean, even regions, like when you talk even with Sanj in the show, there's so many different regions in each country. So let's just start with my peeps at True Estate. So just out of Nicaragua, you can get tobacco that's from Ometepe or the Condega Valley or Jalapa or Esteli. And each one of those has entirely its own flavor profile. So to say any one particular one, it's really about the blends, man, because we all talk about wrapper, binder, filler, and it's the combinations of those things together, and also your own personal flavor profile, right? Some people like stuff that's heavy Ligero. They can smoke double or triple Ligeros. That's never really been my thing. I'm more about flavor than just power.
like one thing is one person I always wanted to meet and talk to was Willie Herrera.
I mean, Willie's
Always
as a human being, he's just an absolutely outstanding dude. As a blender, I think what he's done over the years between what he's done at Drew Estate and Teeth and Bronze and everything else is just amazing stuff. So before when you walked in, I was smoking an Esteli Miami Black.
Yeah.
Something totally meets my flavor profile right there, bro.
I think like for me, like I always like to talk to the blenders themselves because blenders are like chefs because they have to be able to put everything together and make this amazing dish.
Absolutely, bro. That's what it's all about. Trial and error, man. When you do these things like we used to do the cigar safaris back in the day with Drew Estate, and then you go to these blending labs, and it's intimidating, man. You just see all the leaves that you could be choosing and using. How much each leaf are you putting into this? It's just such a process, man. And like you said, it's absolutely like being a chef. And for someone like me, like I said, even though I've been around cigars for 3 decades, I'm the last person that you want blending a cigar. I've tried it multiple times in Nicaragua. Each and every time I created a cigar, it tasted like ass. Just the worst. I wouldn't give it to a dog. So that makes you have even more respect for how the process is. Because remember, when you just make a cigar and it's wet packed, that's not what the final flavor profile is going to be like. It has to sit. It has to rest. So you have to be smart enough to know that's where the chemist in you has to understand what that final product is going to taste like as well. So, dude, absolutely an art form, dude.
So Ben has a question. Ben says, please explain the safari style with the nasty Fritas.
Okay, so the nasty Frita. So you're familiar, obviously, with all the Liga Privada stuff. So the nasty Fritas is really just the short filler going into your nasties, man. So they did that cool little cone shape on them. Like I said, so I'm imagining, Ben, that you've smoked them often, so you can taste that real pop on there and that strength. So you know when you're smoking it, you're smoking a Liga Privada. So at the end of the day, you're smoking the short filler that came off the makings of the other Liga Privada.
Wow. Just going back to what we were talking about when it came to just the just the blending and the aspect of it. Now, have you ever been there and you try something that Willie's done and you're like, yo, this is fire, and then other people are like, nah, it's not, doesn't make the cut.
Oh yeah, a couple of times, and like I said, and it's funny when somebody is just blending something. Remember the outcome of that cigar is not going to be from just the first time that you smoke it. So you'll always see it. There's people I won't name within the organization that will say, hey, this is great, or hey, this isn't great. Some people know tobacco well enough that they understand what the natural evolution is going to be after the tobacco rests and it's not sick anymore. But other people don't quite get it. So when you have some of the masters will be like, hey, this tastes like X today. It's not going to taste the same after it sits and rests a bit.
Wow.
Like if you've ever gone to an event and you see cigar rollers, you go up to the table and you smoke the cigar that you rolled. Now, if you smoked it there and you happen to keep one and you rested it for 60 days, not going to taste like the same stick. After it rests a little bit and it settles, it tastes much different. It's not wet anymore.
Yeah. It dries out.
Everything settles. And so, like I said, the blend will taste different than from what you got when you got it right from a roller.
So, just going from that, and I'm pretty sure you've been to Nicaragua 50 million times, and you've been to the ammonia room, and you've seen stuff go from seed, like they say from
seed to cigar. Yeah. So when you're down there, and it's amazing. Like a lot of people who haven't been around it don't know that ammonia is a natural process in the cigar curing and everything else. So if you're not used to this, you walk into one of those Palones, man, and you're not ready for it. That smell of ammonia can knock you the hell out. It's strong, man. So I remember the first time ever walking into one of it, and they're like, hey, for people who aren't good with really, really strong smells, this might knock you out. The first time in there 15 years ago, I kind of laughed. I was like, eh. And then you open the door, man, it hits you in the face like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So Ben is growing his own grown California tobacco. He wants to say any advice.
See, to be fair with you, I'm not a grower. So we're in California. It's going to be like soil, right? It's like anything else. It's like where you're growing it, like in vineyards.
Ben's out in San Diego.
Okay. So I'm trying to think. So it's going to pick up, like I said, everything that you get in a cigar, kind of like wine. It's going to pick up the nutrients that are in the soil. I don't know if you have your own spot that's using, virgin soil or what's been planted in space, but everything, the dependencies are on the soil and things stuff that people never think about that I watch is what crop was grown in that field beforehand. Was it soybeans? Was it corn? And it's amazing because it actually makes a difference in the mineral compounds that the next crop of tobacco has, which sounds ridiculous, but that's actually how it's done.
Wow.
And you'll notice flavor profile differences.
So like when you're in the field, and I'm not saying you're like an agriculture guy, but
no, you don't want me making stuff. You will not buy shit from me.
So like when they're turning that soil, because now everything is so advanced now from back in the day, from when you first started, So when they're turning that soil, do they take the time to like let that soil sit and kind of
it's an art form, and people try to keep it as organic as possible. So not as much as change as you think has. If you go to some of these things and you ever go, like I tell people, all the Drew Estate people out there know, and those who don't, is we do a couple of barn smokers every year. And really, we were talking about seed to cigar. And you've been my guest at a barn smoker.
Yes,
so you will literally see how it goes from seed on that very farm where the tobacco is sourced to that. So you see it's done old school. Old school tractors are out there in the fields tilling the land and everything else. The tobacco is picked very carefully. It's brought into the barns to dry and everything else. So process hasn't changed too much over probably the last 50, 60 years. I mean, obviously there's been advancements made and everything else, but it's still a very arduous project working on it. And like I said, you've had the ability to see it. So you've been to a barn smoker. So anyone who hasn't been to a barn smoker or safari, it's really great to see how you get the product into your hands. We have learning stations that are set up. You ask questions about the seed, the tobacco, the farm, the types of tobacco, you'll talk wrapper, binder, filler. So you get a real strong education on how your cigar is being made.
So going from there to, because one thing I was wondering when you said that, because it goes from seed and you said, one thing about what grew on there beforehand. So do these guys ever go up and will plant other stuff there just to put that nutrients back in it?
And that's exactly what you do. Like you'll go down, like when I've been in Nicaragua, I've seen them switch out. So one crop would be soybeans. After that, then you have your cigar planting. Then after that would be corn. So you definitely till it out, and you do different agriculture in those fields.
Wow.
Definitely wild to watch it being done, dude. Like I said, if you haven't done it, you'll get even more respect for it.
So, like some people try, like a lot of people, like they say, like I believe it's called the Natapa from Nicaragua, from like where the volcano's close to.
So that's all. Yeah. So there's the island. So you're going to hear Ometepe is what you're
Ometepe, yeah.
So yeah. So Ometepe, which is wild in itself, because Ometepe, that Lake Nicaragua over there, is the only place in the world that has freshwater sharks. So it's wild. Just going over there on its own is a journey on its own. So you're literally you're when you get over there, you're on that volcanic island.
Wow.
And again, that tobacco is going to have a very different, distinct taste than anything from either Condega or Jalapa or Esteli. And that's really what makes it so wild, right? It's kind of like when you go through vineyards, you can go from vineyard to vineyard in California, and just those subtle changes and a little bit of altitude here and there, more or less precipitation. It's amazing how much of a difference that stuff makes. So you talk about tobacco, that's why everyone goes, "Oh, this doesn't taste the same." Just same when you're doing wines and everything else. Depends on the crop, depends on the year, it depends on the environment. Maybe you had a lot of rain that year, maybe you didn't. Maybe the crop that you planted before it didn't supply the nutrients it did from the previous crop. So there's so many different things that go into it. That's why when people say a cigar should always taste the same all the time, like, no, that's why you have different vintages of wine. It's not going to be the same when it's a different vintage. It'll be very, very close. But you could have a wine that wins 2 gold coins in 98 and then 99 doesn't even rate.
So it's a great thing you brought up wine. So one thing that I'm hearing is a lot of French companies, their agriculture is going to shit. So what they're doing is they're going down to South America now. So now you're getting a lot more wines from Argentina,
Chile and stuff, and which makes it more of a robust wine. So again, I've been out of the game a long time when it comes to drinking, but if you're somebody who likes, and again, it's all about the soil. So if you like a more robust, hardy wine, you would get a Chilean wine. Okay. So Chilean wine is very, very bold, has an awful lot of flavor to it. When you pop that cork, you're going to smell the bouquet, and there's going to be, much more robust than what you'd be used to, say, out of a California vineyard or maybe a French vineyard.
Do you see that happening as far as with cigars and tobacco? Do you see them going to more South American countries, starting to buy land there, I think just for the agriculture?
I think, there was a little stumble during COVID because of the ability to be able to go out there and do agriculture, being able to have people put cigars together. Remember, you think the 6-foot rule was here. Well, it was all over the world.
Yep.
So everybody was being able to get done 1/3 of what they were used to being able to get done. But as far as the ability to source tobacco, I think we're in a really, really good spot. Remember, Nicaraguan tobacco really came into its swing a couple decades ago. Everyone was predominantly always talking about Dominican, obviously Mexican, and obviously Cuban. But then Nicaragua really carved out that massive niche. You'll hear Honduras, you'll hear Costa Rica, as I said, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesian wrapper and stuff. Hold on, Patty's kicking our camera over here. See, you have live action.
Hey, Joanne, say hi, Joanne.
You're right. We have live action cam tonight, everybody.
Exactly.
But yeah, so my personal opinion, again, you'd have to ask somebody who's probably deeper into the agricultural part than me, but very rarely do I hear. Now, look, you always need father time to age tobacco properly. So the difference between sourcing it and bringing a cigar out to its final stages are different things. Some tobacco you have to rest longer than others. Companies really, good companies want to make sure that they're giving you the best product that they can. So if they feel that it's not ready in the Palon, it's going to sit there. If it has to sit another 6 months, it's going to sit 6 months until it's right. If it has to sit another year, it's going to sit a year.
Wow. So, oh man, Sammy got jokes.
Sammy, what? That ain't no joke. How's that a joke? Yeah, love you, Sammy. That's right.
Also, too, we got wrong back.
Oh, pushing the romper.
Oh no, we got to push this right here. Matty Rock coffee.
Love you, Sammy. That's right. Tell him, Sammy. Tell him.
Because I was gonna go from the cigars into the coffee, but I just had one other thing I wanted to bring up when it came to the coffee. It was not coffee, but cigars. I remember one time you brought Jose Blanco here.
Yep.
And Jose, out of nowhere, just starts talking tobacco, and it's insane. And he was explaining. He was like, because certain countries, he was saying certain countries are good for binder, certain countries are good for filler, some countries are only good for certain things.
Yeah, so and, when you get to talk to Jose, I gave him his nickname, the Professor, 20 years ago, and because the dude is legitimately the professor. This is somebody, he's a living master. And when you sit, the amount of knowledge that you're going to get out of somebody like Jose, and from somebody who's blended and been around tobacco for 60 years, right, Jose? If you're listening somewhere, or he's probably cursing me out. How fucking old do you think I am? But I still think it's about 60 years. So yeah, it's about right, Jose. If it's not, you can go shit talk me later. But think about it. Been around tobacco and the cultivation of tobacco and the blending of it for 60 years. So that's truly a master. And yeah, it's truthful. And as a blender, what's going to work best for your binders, your filler, your wrapper. And like I said, even with wrappers, you'll hear there's a Connecticut, which is obviously out of the Connecticut Basin. Or you're talking about an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper that's out of Ecuador. And like I said, there's so many different categories as it all goes into. You have Cameroon. You have Cameroon that's produced in other places. So you could go so deep into all the different wrappers. And, over the years, there's been hybrid Suiolos and other types of tobacco popping up. Some of them over the years to be beetle resistant. But there's just so many different kinds of tobaccos. And that's why I'm saying it's such an art to put the marriage of all these different tobaccos together and get something that's enjoyable to smoke. And I can tell you, I suck at doing it. So that gave me so much more respect to others who do.
So one thing you were saying, because you got into like just the hybrids. So I remember, some people say like it'll say like Corojo 99. So they'll make clones of that Corojo 99 seed, or they'll make clones of you know of certain seeds when it comes to it was a good year, it was a good crop. Let's keep trying to produce that.
And again, it's going to wind up being like wines to reproduce the same exact thing over and over. Like there's consistency, which is one thing, and there's being the exact. And it's going to be hard. Like I've had people like, hey, Matt, this color league is not the same exact color as the other one was. I'm like, number one, Syme says this all the time too. Color's not always going to be same across the board, man. Like you get some grapes that are bigger in wine, some that are smaller, some leaves that grow bigger, smaller. Same thing with tobacco. It's not going to be always identical. It's Mother Nature doesn't make everything identical all the time. And like I said, each crop that you produce is going to yield something a little bit different.
So jumping from that to your new venture in the coffee, when did you decide to come out with your own brand of coffee, which is Matty Rock Coffee, which you can find at where, Matty?
If you guys are following me on Instagram, Matty Rock 2K, I have the link in the bio over there, which will bring you straight to my coffee. But this is a cool story. I've always been a huge coffee guy. So much as I've been running around chasing cigar leaves and cigars wherever I've traveled, whether it be in Central America or Hawaii, I've always done my coffee tours and gone wherever I could find coffee beans and grab my fresh coffee from the estate. So it's something I've always loved. And my good friend Shad over at Janice Coffee is like, dude, you know a lot about coffee. You love coffee. Let us do a coffee for you. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I kind of feel the same way about cigars as coffee. If I'm not a man of the field. And Shad's like, no. You know enough about what you like and everything else. Where you don't need to go out and be picking your own coffee berries and beans and everything else. I'm like, all right, fair enough. So for the first blend, it took about, if Shad will hear this later, he could correct me, I think 11 or 12 different blends that we had come out. And literally we decided on the very last blend, I think the 12th blend. Like I said, what's up there, baby?
Stop us.
Just got back. Hey, cool.
So we decided on that 12th blend. It's been doing really, really well. As a little essence of chocolate in it. Nothing overpowering, because the first thing I did is I'm a cold brew guy. So I like no acid in the morning, no cream, no sugar. So you make that cold brew just with that hint and essence of chocolate while it's poured. It's fantastic. Dig it. It's been selling pretty well, and I've overall been real happy with the amount of love that I've gotten on it.
So are there any regions that you want to work that you would love to get into and work with? Like as far as like Brazilian beans or maybe beans from Chile, Nicaragua.
So there's always stuff. So when I go down to Nicaragua, we go up to so Matagalpa has a whole bunch of coffee plantations up there. So I've gone up there. So I like Nicaraguan coffee. Obviously, I love Kona coffee, but for a small guy like me to bring Kona coffee to fruition, I don't think anyone wants to spend $60 a bag on coffee. So you got to find the things that you like that are in a reasonable price range that people will enjoy. So like I said, I got to think about where the next coffee is going to be. Shad and I will probably kick that around in the next 6 months to see what the next blend will be.
Yeah, love your
much love, Age.
I think one thing is there's so many different. Oh, so Dave, I'm smoking the one of a kind by Illusione. And Matty is smoking the brand new gas station sushi. So Rob will have that out. Rob will have that out very, 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 very soon. So be ready. This gas station sushi is phenomenal.
Yep, I'm smoking it in the Lancero. So Lancero Maduro, fantastic. Look at that ash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
thanks for
all right, Joe.
Sorry about that.
Yep. So, Ben has a question. Ben said, "What's your roasting style for your brand?"
This one we did. This one's. So my guys, I don't actually roast it. So Janice roasted out of Wyoming. So Shad and Shay, two brothers, own Janice out of there. So this one's more of a medium roast. It's going to come out very, very smooth. I love using it for a cold brew. So if you're a cold brew person, I would definitely give it a shot. Like I said, medium blend, smooth, creamy. The bouquet, you're going to get, like I said, those light chocolatey notes off of there. Nicaraguan bean. And like I said, for the real roasting stuff, I leave that to the master. So this one's done this is a medium roast. So those boys are any questions, I'll make sure I get them on the next show with you.
Yeah,
so they'll be able to answer the real questions without roasting. So I don't want to pretend that I'm the expert on that.
So one question about roasting. So I'm not jumping my job on blast, but so we use it's like Colombian or something like that.
Not Matty Rock coffee sounds like bullshit to me.
Because it is bullshit. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
So they always say that the problem with them is that they over roast their coffee. So this way that there's like no, like you can't tell if there's any imperfections in it. So is that what some companies do to make to?
There's so much. It's like any other industry, man. There's people who will do things, that are cost effective and everything else to make the coffee stretch longer. I mean, that's just part of the business. And like I said, I mean, you'll know what places you go, and it's like, are you going to have the same steak at Sizzler that you aren't going to have at the Capitol Grill? It's all different. It's that kind of thing. It's the quality. It's how it's done. It's where your beans are sourced from. It's how they're roasted. It's the grade. Remember, coffee beans come in grades too, man. There's A, B, C, D. So same kind of thing.
Interesting. What was very funny is like, so Jadakiss, his dad did coffee all his life. So Jada he did coffee all of his life. His father did coffee all of his life, and now he finally came up with his own little coffee thing. And one thing about it, when you say grade A, grade B, grade D, throughout the grades, so I'm pretty sure, like, if you're trying to buy those A grade beans from those companies,
yeah, of course you're always gonna spend. You always spend more money on the best.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it's funny because there's a difference between quality and overspending on a brand that's overly boutique, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an art of knowing what's what. Trial and error, just like anything else.
So back in the day, a company as far as like it used to be great coffee. It used to be really, really good coffee, and it gets to a point where, you get so oversaturated that you can't produce that good, creamy, coffee unless you're going to the actual store in Seattle.
Well, same with anything else. Like I said, once you get to a certain point, how are you sourcing it? How are you getting it to be exactly the same across the board? How are you keeping the consistency and everything else? So again, that's a growing pain in any business that you have, and it depends on who the company is and how they're going to deal with it. So
now, you also have K-Pods too, right, Matty?
No, I don't have pods yet.
You don't have pods? Okay, that's something that's in the work. So so right now, we have these bags right here. So, oh my God, just the smell of it.
That's right.
Wow, you can smell. You can actually smell like the chocolate through the bag, which is actually pretty amazing. Wow, it smells amazing. Like now, have you thought of your second and third batch yet? As far as your next line of coffee.
It's funny. It's kind of come, like I said, I was really, as much as I love coffee, it was nothing I ever really thought about doing. So this just kind of came to fruition. So the next blend will probably be something more traditional. That's more like me. So when you're an old school kind of dude and you're, multi-generational New York guy.
Yep.
I'm a Bustelo.
Yeah.
I'm a Bustelo guy.
Yep.
So for me, I didn't want to come swinging out of the gates.
Exactly.
Bringing out coffee that'll make people's eyebrows freaking melt off. So that's something I want to talk to Shad about. Maybe not being quite as strong, but something that's kind of like an ode to the Bustelo kind of thing. To the old school coffee, like I said, where your hair will fall out. You drink too many cups.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
That's what I was used to growing up on and everything else. So I think when we get ready to do that, it'll be built around that core kind of idea.
Yeah. So so we touched on the coffee. Now, this is one thing. If you guys follow Matty on Instagram, Matty has the best food page around. I don't care what nobody says. Matty Rock knows all the good food spots. So when did you start really getting into food? Because I know you met a lot of chefs. So was it after you met the chefs and you really got to see behind the curtain, or when did that really come about?
Man, like I said, especially when you quit drinking, you latch on to new things, right?
Yeah.
Or when you don't do any of the other fun recreational shit, no drugs, no booze, none of that stuff. You get deeper into the other stuff like I did with cigars and coffee. So I did even more so with food. And my love of food, like I said, when I had my club, I even learned how to become a sous chef.
Wow.
Because I wanted to learn and understand the business a little bit better. And I've always had that infatuation with food, man. Before he passed away, Carl Ruiz is one of my great friends. Not a day goes by, that's the Cuban from Food Network. Not a day goes by without me missing him.
Yeah.
And having him around me and learning even more about food, and you appreciate it even more, and you take nothing for granted. And it's art, just like anything else. So you really learn to respect chefs even more and their trade and how they bring everything to the table. And so that's always been a love of mine. Like I said, I am certainly by no stretch of an imagination a chef, but I sure do know what I like. I sure do know how to eat. It makes me happy. That's why. Where do you think that nickname came from? Is Husky Aquaman? I need my food, bro.
Yeah, Bob the cigar guy is on.
Oh, what up, Bob, baby?
Bob the cigar guy is on. He said, Matty Rock is the truth.
Love you, man.
He said, Mike says Carl is the man.
Very,
very funny guy.
Miss him every day, Mike. I mean, he was special, bro. He was real good people. His passion for life and his passion for food. Very few people on this planet ever had that kind of passion for both. I mean, he's gone, but while he was here, he lived.
Yeah,
he lived.
So, like
No,
now
you tell me.
Yeah.
What the fuck you know? I don't know. Come on, explain to the people.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, commentary from Paul.
Hey, listen, I don't hear nothing to talking some chicken and sasquatch.
Oh boy,
You get some Tyrian sauce, boy.
Yeah,
Come on, it's all going to spiral out of control.
So, now, like you do a lot of food events. Yeah. You do a lot of food and wine festivals. So, like, what are like some of, like, because you work with Ed Randolph.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a dude, class act guy, owner of Handsome Devil Barbecue.
Handsome Devil. Hey, he was on the last episode of the Big Guilty Cigar podcast. So if you missed that one, go back, watch that one with Ed Randolph. Amazing chef.
Great chef, great dude, chopped winner. You guys are out in Newburgh, New York. I highly suggest, if you barbecue folks, that you head on out to Handsome Devil. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But and you just kind of touch on it. I've always been a huge barbecue guy. Yeah. When I was younger, I spent an awful lot of time in Texas, eating places like Rudy's and everything else. And you just get that hankering, man, for solid barbecue. And then, in the last couple of years, New York's barbecue game really started to come up. You had Ed Randolph, Robert Austin Cho over from Kimchi Smoke. And just that all the things that New York and New Jersey has now, adding that barbecue to it was just magic, man. You could be right here in New Jersey, New York, and get real briskets and get real barbecue. So
do you think the Northeast can hold their own against them boys in the South?
Hey, man, we got some trophies, man. There's some trophies up on the walls between Ed and Cho and a lot of the other barbecue cats. So yeah, man, it's definitely been game changing the way that barbecue has come to the tri-state area, dude. 100%.
So have you ever met the old lady who's out of Austin, Texas? She opens up her shop at like, she starts cooking at like 3 a.m.
No, dude, and that's the thing about Texas. There's literally so many. I just got back from Houston, and I just hit up Grant Pinkerton's place. Absolutely amazing, man. So if you guys are in Houston, check out Pinkerton's. Top-notch stuff. But that's a beauty, man. Like, I guess the best way to explain it is like Texas is to barbecue as New York and New Jersey is in this area is to like pizza. Wow. You don't have to go too far to roll up and just some absolutely amazingly good barbecue joints. So total blessing, man, to be able to do that. Texas is very much like that. You're not going to lose.
Like what were some of your favorite like just experiences dealing with, just getting really getting into the barbecue, like the barbecue festivals? And
I think the neatest thing with that, is that barbecue folks are a little bit different than a lot of other people and other chefs. They're very, very much like a giant family. It's never really a competition with them. Kind of everybody kind of gets together. And my favorite part of that is that community does an awful lot of charity events. And I love doing that. So the boys over at Pig Beach, Matt Abadou and Shane at Pig Beach, they do a lot of charitable work, and they bring in some of the best barbecue, people on the planet. And to be able to sit there and work and, sling some sticks at some of those events and be around, some of the best in the biz and people from all over the country. We all know my buddy George from Five Monkeys, and have George, come from one coast, come from the West Coast over.
And our boy out of Tennessee.
Yep, you got all of them. You got Peg Leg Pork. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I would tell you this.
Kerry Pringle. Yep.
I had no idea. Kerry is a show in himself. Kerry is a show. Like, he went up there. He went from singing. He did a little bit of singing, did a little bit of guitar, did a little bit of grilling, and has one of the best business cards ever. And
boys got some new whiskey too.
Really? Wow.
Yep. So again, you'll have to drink it on my behalf.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But yeah, and you just kind of said it. Like the fact that these guys are so much fun, the food is fantastic, and like I said, it's a big old barbecue family, which I think but incredibly cool shit.
We're forgetting one thing. We're forgetting the bourbon.
No, we never forget the bourbon. Now, if you're talking about, we got the number one bourbon educator, Mr. Tom Fisher. So again, now for all you people that drink, what goes better than bourbon, barbecue, and cigars? And the answer is probably nothing.
Yeah. Tom is such an amazing cat, and he's so knowledgeable when it comes to whiskey. It's one of those things where it's the best of all worlds when all three of you guys get together. When you got the best in cigars, the best in barbecue, and the best in bourbon.
And that's coming up, guys, in April. So up at Handsome, keep your eyes open. Up at Handsome Devil. We haven't announced the date yet, so I think we're up to the 6th annual charity event, supporting local charity groups in the Newburgh area. For the first year, we actually did it for our fallen friend Carl, and then from then on, moving forward, we did it for different charitable groups around the Newburgh area to give back to the community. Food. And like I said, you're going to have Tom will be there, Sanj and I and the gang will be there slinging sticks. Some of the best pit masters that'll be there. Like I said, really, just a total badass freaking event, man. Every year it gets bigger, badder. It's just awesome.
First of all, that's not an Eagles hat, Skinny. That's just Matty's regular hat. That's not an Eagles hat. So get that right.
I'm a miserable Jets fan. I wouldn't wear an Eagles hat.
Exactly. We're not losers like you, Skinny.
I can't say shit because I'm a Jets fan. So. Skinny, I have nothing to say, bro. You should never watch football ever again. I hope you're pleased with yourself, sir.
Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself, Skinny. Hey, Garrett's on from England. What's going on, Garrett?
What's up there, brother?
Oh, hey, Patty.
Yeah.
Skinny's talking shit to you, man.
Who?
Skinny Money. Oh, you see now?
So Skinny was beating on Pat. All right, continue, Skinny.
Listen.
See, he knows not to pick on the pathetic Jets fan, right? That's easy pick.
And listen, first of all, Pat is protected because Pat is a Cowboys fan and he's a Yankee fan, Skinny. So he's extra protected. Hey, listen. Patty he got them those old school Newark mob connections. Be careful, Skinny. Yeah, so going in, you've been all over, and one thing you love chopped cheese.
Oh, come on, man. You talk about your old school New York food, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Ray, salt, pepper, ketchup. There's another one. Number one, if you haven't had a chopped cheese, you got to check one out. And number two, no, it is not a Philly cheesesteak. Don't ever.
Don't
do it. Don't do it.
Ever disrespect us like that. All right? Nobody cares about them shitty Philly cheesesteak, okay, Skinny?
Well, wait. I didn't say
okay.
the entirely bagged Philly cheesesteak.
I'll calm down. All right, I'll calm down.
Back it up a little, some.
So I'm getting excited.
I'm just saying.
I'm getting excited.
You know, I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
Ain't nothing hits the way that those chopped cheeses hit. So
Oh,
shout
yeah.
out to my boy Ray over salt, pepper, ketchup, and Hawthorne. So you want a legit, old school New York style chopped cheese? Go see my boy Ray, salt, pepper, ketchup, Hawthorne, New Jersey. Tell him that you want it the Matty Rock way. And you know what that means? I want no vegetables. I want it not at all fucking healthy. Don't put lettuce on there. I don't want no chopped lettuce. Don't you dare put tomato. I want my chopped meat, my cheese, and that mayo chop.
Yep.
Boom. That's what I want.
That's it.
That's the way.
That's the way to do it. You've been so now. One quick question: that is the pizza in New Haven overrated?
Now it depends. If you're going to ask me if I want to go to Pepe's and get a white clam pizza, I got to hang my head in shame, bro. That white clam pizza is badass. But then, you know, when I come back and I step foot in my dirty jersey, we're going to Kinchley's or we're going to Pizziola. So Kinchley's is hard to beat, man. You want one of the best meatball pies that you've ever had, homemade meatball pies? Kinchley's, bro. But look, I give my Quan to
New Haven.
Well, for that, look, like I said, the pizza's good, but that white clam pizza, that's all that. I give it to them. I give their little bow. Come on, Patty, you've had it, right? So see now the Patty's like, shit, I gotta go get me some white clam pizza. So I gotta say that's badass.
One thing I will say, like, especially when it comes to you and your food reviews, like especially like the sushi boats. So at my job, we have a place at my job, and it's actually the number one ranked sushi spot in the U.S. He's a Japanese chef, and so he has only seating for 12. He doesn't. I believe C was just telling me that because we don't get to go in there. I've never seen it, but he does a seating at 5. At 5:30, and he does another seating at 8:30.
Does a little omakase action where he just brings out the air.
Just brings it out. So, how do you feel about prefix menus?
Look, if you're doing sushi from a sushi master and you're doing omakase, like I said, you have to trust in the process and trust in the chef and trust in what you're going to get. So the whole idea of omakase is just that. Omakase, I think, literally means chef's choice. So he's going to come out. So if you're not into that, you're not into someone else choosing what you want. Don't go to a place that has omakase and then tell a Japanese sushi chef you don't want this. There'll probably be something else fishy in your sushi. Don't do it.
And if you go, you can all that stuff on this is for garnish. You never dip the food in anything. That's all for garnish.
It's like ketchup on a steak, baby.
Yeah, so. What were some of the best spots that you've as far as high end spots? What are some of the best that you've been to?
I mean, geez, dude, I've been so blessed to go all over, everywhere. I mean, there's nothing quite like the experience of going to a sushi place in Tokyo, which
wow,
I was blessed enough to do. Obviously, you're not going to get any more legit than that. But there's little places that are sleeper places right by me that you would never guess. There's one that I put up all the time that everyone goes, that's the best looking sushi boat I've ever seen. And dude, the name of the place is called Poke Zone in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Everyone's like, dude, it's a poke place. Great. They have sushi grade fish, but come on, man. I'm like, go there once, get that boat, get that sushi boat. Then you come back to me and you let me know what you think. And look, I'm not saying you're at Nobu, but you're not paying $500. You're paying about $70. So everything, like I said, you also have to keep your expectations reasonable. But I tell you what, it's one of the best $70 boats I've ever had in my life.
Wow. And
that's why I continue to go there. I mean, legit.
So, sorry, Matty. So, I'm going to switch it up again and go to one of my favorite topics, which is, a lot of wrestlers.
Yep. I've had, I was able to grow up with a bunch of them, be around them in the locker rooms. And it's been great, man, because that's another super, super fun culture to be around these guys. You have some of the guys who are the exact opposite of their characters. You have other guys who literally still walk around as their characters.
Ric Flair.
And it's just what, yeah. And it's just so much fun to be around some of these guys and see some of the energy. And when you watch what they do, I get tired if I have to travel once a week, right? You've seen me. I came back and said, hey, I did 6 trips in 5 weeks. I was beat to shit. To watch what these wrestlers did, and even more in the past, that these dudes are on the road 300 plus days a year. And people are like, why are they all banged up and they're all messed up? I'm like, dude, when you're on the road 300 days a year getting dropped on your head, the stuff that you and I kid about, talk about, like, wrestling's not real. I'm like, dude, when you get dropped off of ropes or these bruises and your shoulder almost torn out, your knees taken out from it, dude, this shit hurts. And you never get a chance to heal, man. It's just fucking crazy the amount of abuse that these dudes take. So people are like, but it's fake. I'm like, no. Maybe the outcome, but the athleticism and the amount of fucking brutality that these dudes take, hell no.
Hey, Patty, your boy was Tony Atlas back in the day, right?
Who?
Tony Atlas.
Yeah, Tony Atlas, all of them.
And I know Tony well, and he was great. Oh, Matty, let me tell you something. These people are vultures, Matty. Vultures. They're just coming up. Now, if Tony was listening, he'd be laughing. Oh, Matty, that don't sound nothing like me, Matty. What are you talking about? Okay, maybe that sounds a little bit like me, Matty. Maybe you could have been a wrestler, Matty. Maybe so. Oh, yeah, Tony's the best, man. Love him to bits. Super fucking good dude. And dude's still doing it. Dude's in his 70s, man. Still doing his thing.
What? Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. He still gets booked to shows, man.
I remember when I got the text that morning from you, and you informed me that Kevin Sullivan passed away.
You talk about, and when you lose somebody like Kevin Sullivan, you're losing annals into wrestling history. I mean, that dude was a human encyclopedia of everything wrestling, and people who didn't really know him or have the time to sit down and talk with him. The loss to the industry was devastating.
It was, and people, like the problem is that newer people, they don't understand what he brought to Florida wrestling. When he really brought that dark side of that mystical stuff into wrestling.
Yeah, 100%. Man.
So he was the original one that brought one of my favorite wrestlers was Chris Kanyon, but when he was Mortis.
Because he knew talent. He was always good at that. He could always spot talent. He could always work with talent. Like I said, incredibly cerebral dude. Just a really, really smart guy that loved the industry and was a walking encyclopedia for it.
And Kevin, and then you had other great bookers like Patty's boy Dusty Rose.
American Dream, baby.
The funny thing is that the other every now and again if it's on, I put it on for Patty. And me and Patty would sit here watching the pay-per-views, and Patty loves it. That me and him watched the match with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, and Patty was like, holy, Patty couldn't believe it. It's one of those, like I always bring up to you any time that they show Snitsky's
kicking the baby.
Kicking the baby.
And I know it's I'm blessed. Love you, Gene. I've known Snitsky for Jesus 15, 16 years. He's always been my dude. And you talk about, like I said, people that are the exact opposite of their character. He's the sweetest, chillest dude on the planet. Again, blessed to have him as a friend. Always a great time when you hang out with him and hear the stories and everything else. Just real fun stuff, man.
I seen last year.
We had him at the Barn Smoker. So, we've had Snitsky, the Barn Smoker, Sags from the Nasty Boys, been in the Barn Smoker. The Samoans, Lloyd and Nahi's been at the Barn Smoker. So a lot of these dudes are cigar dudes. They sit back, they enjoy. Your boy Taz.
Yeah, Taz. Well, that's the funny thing. So, I was blessed enough to go on the infamous Smoke Show when they had when Matt and them guys had Taz on, and like we see, I'm a wrestling nerd, so like none of the other guys really knew about wrestling, so like I was able to kind of talk Taz about wrestling and the stuff that he's been through, and also just reconnect you guys.
Yeah, which was great. So Taz was like, Matty, I haven't spoken to Matty for years, so hit Taz up, made sure I sent him out some smokes and shot the shit. He's like, yo, man, I haven't smoked X in a long time. I'm like, I think I got a couple of those kicking around, brother. He got some time at home to rest because he had the surgery. So he got to smoke some sticks at the surgery. But yeah, man, shows you how this stuff brings everybody together too.
It's the great equalizer. It's one of those things where, you can have a doctor, politician, construction worker,
A jerk off like me.
anybody, and we all come together and we all just enjoy, we all end up enjoying cigars. But the funny thing about it is, it could be a Tuesday night. You go in every Tuesday at 7:00. There's a guy in there comes in at 6:30. Next thing you know, you see each other all the time. It starts from a hey, what's going on? How you doing, man? To what are you smoking? This is what I smoke. And next thing you know, it goes from that to every time you go up in there on your Tuesday nights, it's no longer just a hey, it's all right, I'm gonna sit with you and enjoy my cigar with you.
Well, it's a beauty, dude, right? For this, it could be an introspective moment where you're just sitting on your own, puffing away a cigar, thinking about life, or you're hanging with your dudes. And you sit, right? Everybody from all walks of life participates in this. So you get to meet everybody, everybody's friends, everybody gets to sit down. That's the ultimate way, right? That's the ultimate breaking of bread, except with cigars.
So you've been so many places, Matty. So like, where has been some of your favorite places that you've been that you sat there, had a cigar, you're like, this is what life is about?
Now you're giving me a couple tough ones. We're talking about the U.S. What are we doing? Are we talking about in the world? The U.S. You got to pinpoint me a little, baby.
We can go U.S. first.
So one place that I thought was tremendously cool to sit down and go smoke a cigar. Probably I wasn't supposed to smoke a cigar there, so we'll see if the game, the fishing and game or whatever department is. I've been down in Miami and Key West, God knows how many times. Worked down there. Never once have I gone to the Dry Tortugas, which is which was the largest military base that the United States ever built. That's like 70 miles off the coast of Key West.
Wow.
So, dude, you're literally in the middle of nowhere, sitting at this big ass giant fort in these super gorgeous waters. There's nobody there. We went at a time where there's almost no tourists, so you're just walking across that. Literally, like I said, you're chilling out in the middle of the Gulf, and you're just sitting there. I think I sent some pictures smoking some SP 1014 blacks.
Wow.
Sitting, just sitting in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the Gulf, enjoying a smoke, sucking in the natural beauty. I've taken a couple of rides out from the desert a couple times between going back and forth from LA to Vegas. And it's insane. Once you get away from all the light pollution and everything else, dude, you're literally, everything's lit up by the stars and everything else. You sit out there freaking next to a cactus, looking at a billion stars, smoking a stick. Nothing sucks about that. But like I said, there's so many different things to revel in. The exact opposite is, I'm out in Denver, Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest is coming up. You drive up past Breckenridge, you go up to like Peak 8, smoking a cigar 13,000 feet.
Wow.
Up in the mountainside. I mean, there's so many. I've learned not to be jaded by anything. There's a lot of moments that I got to say that I really, really enjoy. And just, the vastness of the United States and all the different places, just, the wow moments. Going out to Hawaii, being, smoking your cigar next to an active volcano, all stuff like that. Just nuts stuff that I really enjoy and I don't take for granted.
One place I really enjoyed was, so my mom's side of the family is from Hudson, New York. And up there, you get that beautiful view of the Hudson Valley. To me, there's no better view going from New York to Albany, riding that Amtrak line, because you get the most amazing views just on the Hudson. And of course, like they've built it up. They've built up a lot now. Like most towns, when you pass through it now, they all have a boardwalk down there now. But just the scenery around it, and you got Jersey on the other side, but you have so many things. And it's kind of crazy because they actually have like a castle.
A bunch of them are in that part of New York. Yep.
Yeah. So they actually have like a castle that's like in the middle of the ocean. Well, in the middle of that Hudson River. And as a kid, me and my brother used to always say, what is that castle? And, I believe they started to like refurbish it a little bit so people could kind of take like trips over to it. But to me, as growing up, it was always fascinating.
Hey, dude, that's your memories, dude. That's equally important to the family memories that go along with it.
Like they're like, being upstate and, just smoking that cigar on the Hudson I was like, okay, this is why I enjoy this so much.
Yeah, it's part of your personal history, bro. So absolutely.
So Matty, you smoke cigars with a lot of people, and not to single out anybody, but what was the one time where you were smoking a cigar, you're like, oh my God, I'm smoking a cigar with this person?
Dude, that's rough, man. Because I've had the opportunity. Never did I think I'd be smoking cigars with hanging out with Snitsky and wrestlers and SAG, sitting back smoking cigars or smoking with Rikishi, right? Remember one time he asked, sitting back
with Big Quiche.
Been able to smoke cigars with Chaz Palminteri. Those are things that you say like, yeah, I never really thought about this moment. Being blessed to have JD as a friend.
Yeah.
Being around JD and all those guys and stuff. So, there are a million different blessings, man. So like I said, again, not at all jaded. There's been so many cool people I've had the opportunity to sit and have a smoke with over the years. And like I said, never take that for granted. Fuck, I enjoy sitting right here, right now, having a smoke with fucking, and Patty. Even though Patty's like he had enough of me for the day. It's somebody told me before. So he had enough Matty for the day.
It's crazy because like there's certain people and you never thought you'll just sit across from them and have a cigar with them. Like
you never know where life's gonna take you.
I remember like it was yesterday, the day that I met you. You can't because of course, like you're on YouTube and you're looking at stuff and I remember you were hosting the events for Cigar Aficionado. And not Cigar Aficionado, for Cigar International. For their for Cigar Fest. And I go and I see you and I see the hat and I go, that guy's on YouTube. That guy's on was at Cigar Fest. And I met you. And the first time we spoke for like an hour in a cloud of smoke about wrestling because you had Andrew here with you.
Yep.
And you're like, and we're sitting and from there it kind of just clicked. I was like, oh man, like and it's been love ever since.
Absolutely, bro. Like I said, you knew that day. You didn't think the next day it'd be Andrew Anderson, friggin' Tokyo Monster, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Sam Houston. So stuff that you never think about. Like, wait, all you guys are sitting down together smoking at Sanja's. I'm like,
it's insane, and it's like people like that you looked up to and seen them on TV. You're like, oh, you're like, wow, they're actually at the shop, and they just and it's hard not to nerd out and go into Wrestle Talk. It's very hard not to, because even during the podcast with Taz, I'm there and I'm trying so hard because he has so many cigar questions, but I'm trying not to ask so many wrestling questions, and the most interesting thing that he spoke about was just the flyer miles. He goes on Delta. I have over 3 million flyer miles.
Yeah, you wind up
a year.
As soon as you stop using them, it just gets absolutely insane. That's what I was saying. So people are like, how come these wrestlers always seem so beat up? I'm like, dude, I'm beat up if I'm fly platinum miles in a year. These dudes are fly 1K every single year for 20 years.
For
20
years.
Holy shit, man.
So and you got to think about it. You're going from, Taz is based out here. I won't say where, but he's based out here. So he's going from here to Chicago, from here to LA, from here to Texas, from here to West Bumblefuck, Iowa,
I know many fine people in West Bumblefuck.
Nice. Yeah, like no shots. I'm just saying, like it's just the travel. It's the travel. It just kills.
It's insane. So think of that even before you step into a wrestling ring, dude. That's what always blew my mind, man. You do all that just to travel, kick your ass, and you go in a wrestling ring and get your ass beaten in.
Exactly, and that's the one thing that I always found fascinating was just the fact that, they calmed it down a lot now, where they do a lot less house shows now. So now
back in the day, man, you were like I said, you were that hustle 300 plus days a year.
Yeah, and we'll call him the evil man, because the evil man was like he worked these guys like dogs.
Oh yeah, he like I said, he pushed and pushed.
He pushed through. But the one thing I will say was he was at every show.
Yep.
So just as much stuff that they were doing, the only difference was the fact that he wasn't in the ring as much. It was one of those things where touring is tough, even in first class.
100%, dude. 100%. The wear and tear on your body from doing it nonstop. Like this is since the beginning of the year. This will be the longest I've been home for 7 days, and I'm back out on the road on Friday. I'm like, holy shit, will I die?
Yeah. I think one thing that's interesting. So Shannon Sharp was in our first take, and he was talking about LeBron James, and he said LeBron had a bad ankle, and he was saying that ankle isn't going to swell up until you get into the air, and that's when that pressure is really going to be built up.
I mean, dude, you feel it. If you know what it's doing to your body, you feel it in your ears, your nose, your head. So yeah, man, constant up and down in the air. The time zone changes. People don't think about all this stuff. So you take the time in the air, the time zone change, the delays. It's just, bro, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
I think, and then also too, just the fact of, you got the guys like, perfect example like Chris Candido. They said that the reason why he passed was he got an air pocket because he had a broken ankle, and within that broken ankle, an air pocket formed up.
Went to his heart and killed him
and took him out. So it's one of those things where, people don't really take it into account. Just how much that travel beats on your body. You're going from town to town to town. It's like being on a it's like being on tour as an artist.
Of course, man. Like I said, it takes, people really don't think about it. Like, oh, so and so makes so much money. Dude, it's a fucking beating.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking beating, hands down.
Now you worked on tours also too, right, Matty?
When I was younger, I did that. Like I said, nothing like as advanced as nothing like 80-date tours, but even doing 2 weeks or 3 weeks, if I'm tired and I'm not performing, just imagine these guys. And then the partying behind it's just like, holy shit, I don't know how they do it. And you see it takes a toll on it. Like a lot of these guys are like, dude, I can't do it anymore. Like you'll see that they lived a life of madness and debauchery, and then they're like, they just stop. People are like, oh, how do you just stop? Like, dude, you want to be around a little bit longer? You just stop. Or you'll be underground. Like I said, I've been around people I saw that lived hard that aren't here anymore. That's part of the learning process too. It's like, woof, got to know when to tame it down a bit.
You know what? I found something very interesting. I was thinking about, with Paul being here, like just thinking about, Haitian tobacco. You never really hear of anybody really experimenting with it. And Paul, you can probably help us out here.
I don't know anything about Haitian tobacco. It's all sold to the Dominicans. It's all sold to different vendors. It doesn't carry the Haitian name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It do grow tobacco in Haiti, but it all depends on who owns the factory, the farm.
So even Haitian tobacco.
It's just like people buy a bottle of Creed for $400.
Yeah.
The plant comes from Haiti.
Yeah. Really?
All the vetiver from Haiti.
And people don't announce it because they'll just say it came from the island of Hispaniola, and they'll keep it hush hush, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. That's actually pretty interesting that I never even thought about.
Look, is Paul dropping some knowledge and shit on you?
Yo, listen, man. Listen, every now and again, Paul drops some dimes.
I don't know, dude. I'm taking a cigar out of his hand. I'm putting in a pipe and a fucking Sherlock Holmes hat and a monocle.
Cooler's on. Man, so Cooler's a pilot. So, so I can only imagine, like he says, flying is rough.
I'm thinking about it now, crying a little bit.
Like I fly maybe 3 times a year. Well, 4, because I fly when I have to get the boys. I fly to Tampa, and then I fly into South Carolina. I fly into Myrtle Beach.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
See that plane?
Mm-hmm.
Flipped upside down.
Upside down, and people coming out one by one.
Wow. Yeah, Haitian cigars. Yep, but you wouldn't know. You would never know, and it's kind of messed up to think about. Like because you never know if Haiti is sitting on a gold mine when it comes to their tobacco.
Unfortunately, in this world, that's with everything, man. A lot of people like to take, but that's every industry.
Yeah. Like getting like now I know you really can't get into the mind of Willie, but do you think there's anything that he really wants to work with? Which and I thought, and you know, like, so I met Sandy from
Tate, yeah.
from Tate in the Bronx, one of the most amazing ladies ever. And it's funny because most of them are from Jersey.
That's right, baby.
She's from
Dirty Jersey.
She's from Elizabeth, New Jersey. You know, and before they moved down to Miami.
So they know that's Willie's mother-in-law, guys.
Yeah. So and T-Town the Bronx makes amazing cigars. You know, like if you know it's coming from their factory, it's going to be something really, really good. Like I actually love that the parkers that they made for General.
I still have some of the old original Redemption Maduros from like 15 years ago.
Wow, that's that right there is something second to none. Like one of my favorite lines. When I maybe get my hands on it, one's the smoke. But you know, like. Because like, has George State ever dealt with Cameroon?
So when Swisher first came in, they had let me figure out the name of it. They actually had a Cameroon wrapper. Give me 2 seconds. I'll remember the names. I'd have to look it up because I hoarded a few boxes of it because I love it. So just before the acquisition, hold on.
Our boy Tom Fisher's on.
Tom, what up, baby?
Yeah.
I'm figuring out what that stick is right now. Give me a minute. Hold on. Nirvana. There's remember that. So yeah. So that was the one time they dabbled with the camera, the true Cameroon, and that Nirvana was absolutely amazing. I remember when they blew it out, I literally went out to Famous Cigars and I bought all the boxes.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Tom, what's up, baby? We were just giving you your praises and props a few minutes ago.
Yeah, Tom is the man. Tom is great. You know, so you know, I know a lot of in my Discord group, a lot of people talk about it's Merrifield cigars. You know, so now that right there, Merrifield, they that's the family that deals with Cameroon tobacco in itself, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple of different families. Sanj is probably the best person to work with that. But yeah, there's very exclusive families who deal with Cameroon, correct?
Yeah, from Africa, Cameroon. You know what? Let what Patty is here. Patty, what was your first cigar, Patty?
Black and Mild.
A Black and Mild. Really, Patty?
I was a kid, yeah.
Come on, that's the shit we smoke. Come on. We didn't get to be like you, just come up on in here and start smoking the good shit. We smoked our Philly blunts and our Swisher sweets and our Black and Milds. Come on.
So what was your first like real cigar, Pat? Can you remember that?
Oh, right, man.
Was it in the 70s or did you start in the 90s, Pat?
I smoked cigarettes first.
Okay.
And then I quit smoking cigarettes and I waited about a year and I was in Vegas and my friend was smoking a cigar. He says, "You got to have one." I really don't want one. And once I got that was the end. That was the end. Actually,
see, Pat even back then had no patience for anyone's bullshit. Smoke this. No, I don't want it. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, at least we know Pat has a solid history of
exactly.
leave me the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well played, Patty.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember what it was, Pat?
We're probably in the well, actually, no. It was a Super Bowl out in Vegas.
Okay.
The New England Patriots and the Giants.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, back in those days, you're probably smoking a Romeo and Juliet or something, or a freaking Monte Cristo.
I was smoking one of his. I never knew anything about him.
Or a punch or something like that.
I started smoking cigars and still smoking.
Still smoking short. You know, they always say a cigar a day keeps the doctor away.
Relax you.
You know. So one thing too, Matty, is that your swag is always on point too. If people don't know, if you see Matty,
Gotta be swaggy, baby.
so like you'll have on Pigeon, your Crocs, the carrot Crocs, So like, how is the shoe collection at home?
Ah, dude, I'm like the Imelda Marcos on the dude style shoes, man. My chick hates me because I probably have. I don't even want to think about it. I don't know, 120 pairs of kicks. Probably.
Wow,
it's bad.
Wow.
Today was shit outside, so I'm just wearing some Merrill beaters. But you know how it rolls.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. See, thank God I didn't do drugs and all that shit and none of that because my addictive personality between watches and kicks and hats, no good. Cigars, coffee. Yeah, I still have a lot of vices. Yeah, right. It's like, oh wow, we did no drugs and no, it's fine. I make up for it in a million other ways. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite piece, Matty?
Oh, art piece. I mean, where are we going now?
Sorry. You watch.
Ooh. See that's funny because it's not always about the fancy, the expensive stuff. Sometimes I just like the sometimes I'm just all about the history of it. I have a when I say gem mint, we'll go put that on the show one day. I have an old 1952 Omega that literally looks like it's brand new. It literally looks like it just rolled off the showcase floor. I like weird, funky stuff. So there's a watch company. There's a watch brand called Rico that like the copy company. And the thing I thought was funny about it is in the 60s, Rico tried to kind of like copy Seiko. So in my mind, I always thought that was funny, right? A copy company. So, Rico was trying to make watches like Seiko. So some of these they're called dynamic wides. And you get them throughout the 60s, I think all the way into the 80s. And back in the day, you could find it for $20, $25. And for whatever reason, they started getting really popular. You'll find some of these dynamic wides, 45 jewel with, that cost you nothing, or like $1,200, $1,300 watches now. It's a lot of fun. So you know me, I like wearing fun shit like that. I like art series stuff. So for my G-Shocks, I have stuff from Eric Hayes. I have all the Eric Hayes art collabs. I have Futura art collabs. I like all the collab stuff, even New Era because I'm a hat guy. I got my New Era collab. So I probably have I have the M&M collab watch that thank you Rosenberg was gifted to me by Rosenberg. So I got a lot of cool collectible watches like that are from the art side. For fancy stuff, I like that Milgauss, that Rolex because I love that green sapphire crystal. I love that red lightning bolt secondhand. Just a couple of real fun pieces that I have. Like today, we just literally, like I said, because of the weather, I put on, and I'll have anything from a chucker. I'll have a Timex shock. So for me, it's whatever I'm feeling, I'll throw on that day. So today, bumming around in shit weather and heavy wind and everything else. So something as simple as that. And since I'm getting old as fuck, I like wearing this watch at night because when you light this thing up, you could see it from fucking Mars.
Nice.
So when you get older, you can even see it from there when I light it up. So I laugh. So my old eyes are thankful for shit like this. But I keep it fun, man, all across the board. Whatever I'm in the mood for at that moment is what I throw on. My boy Zach, I don't think he's on here as a watchmaker. He helped re-gear out my Tudor. So I was wearing my 2012 Tudor Smiley the other day. Props to Zach for getting that up and running beautifully.
Wow.
Service that bad boy for me.
So now when you get your watch service, you don't send it out. You just send it to your boy.
Dude, my dude's legit, man. Right, Zach, if you're listening. So my boy Zach Ackerman, man, he does custom watches. He services watches. He saved many of my watches from death that I was ready to throw across the room. I can't tell you how many of my old Tissot's that he oiled up and got working. I like the old Tissot Sea Stars from the 60s and 70s. So he got those fired up for me.
Nick, you're late. My boy Nick came on. He's late. But we got about like 20, 25 minutes left, Matty. If you could hold up.
I know I'm old as fuck, but I think I'll be all right. I had a decent amount of coffee and caffeine today.
Just going, see, that's the thing. I always try to can I start over?
Start over? Now that I'm too old for. I'm starting over. I'm going to bed. I'm too fucking old for. Curl up into a ball and start crying and shit.
like one thing too is your jewelry, Matty. When people see you, they notice your jewelry in the rings.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If I had 6 fingers on each hand, all 6 would have rings. So yeah.
So like, so now when you're at home, what's the process of picking out each one?
I'm pretty fucking lazy. They don't even come off in a shower. I sleep with them. My wife said I've almost killed her a few times in the middle of the night if I'm thrashing around and shit. But there's a whole different array of stuff. There's just piles and piles of rings. Some stuff that's cool and others you want to hold that up to the camera. So
wow,
for the cigar whores, there's a gentleman. So anyone who's into cigar jewelry knows his name. His name is Brock Kensington. So he made me that Liga brand. That's a giant hunk of silver, and that's pretty hefty. So he made that out of a Liga Privada cigar band. And, it could be anything. I'll wear goofy stuff of it. I got the Gucci Ghost ring because it looks like the Pac-Man Ghost.
Wow.
So I'll have goofy shit that's fun. So yeah. And like I said, this one will make you laugh. I'll go put my hand up here. So we all have our versions of yin and yang, right? So my version of yin and yang is a little different, right? So on there I said I have Jason, but then I also have Buddha, right? So Jason, I want to go kill people, and then Buddha tells me just chill the fuck out, right? Yeah. So that's the Matty Rock version of balance and yin and yang to keep stuff fun.
I said John Black says he loves the rings. John Black is actually a really good tattoo artist.
What's up there, brother?
Listen, Patty's in the back, so Patty can't make him an espresso right now.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
We'll go get you one.
Well, like one thing is that it's the jewelry, it's the it's the hats, you get a lot of exclusive stuff, man.
It's fun, man. Like I said, being around that, being blessed. Like I said, you see the logo on my coffee, so we gotta let's give Chris from Robots. Chris Work from Robots Will Kill a shout out. If you guys are art folks, Robots Will Kill. Chris Work, Chris RWK on Instagram. Check out his art there. So I'm blessed to have Chris as a friend, and he actually did my my logo for me. Fucking great dude, amazing art. Have a bunch of his pieces, and being my age, being around the New York City art scene and stuff is always pretty cool. All right, that's a good one. If we could change one or two things about the cigar business, what would it be and why? I think there's a lot of, and I'm not going to single out any one company. I think there's a lot of dishonesty in the exclusivity of what kind of cigar is a limited edition, special edition. X only puts out 150 boxes a year, but when you do the math and you see how many appointed vendors get it and you figure out, hey, that's 10 times the amount of cigars, that's the kind of stuff that I really see no need for. The gimmicky stuff, I don't love stuff like that when it's super exclusive, produced once in a lifetime, this and that. That always kind of drives me crazy. Sure, you can absolutely have some old tobacco around and create a blend off of that. Certain companies will just keep coming back and back and back, and it's super limited, ultra exclusive, limited time only, seasonal batch. That shit drives me crazy. And other times when people will drive up a price of a cigar just on the namesake of the cigar, or you'll find somebody that, it's whatever MSRP is supposed to be. If it's in high demand, they'll beat the shit out of the consumer and they'll charge 3 times as much. So those are the 1-2 things that really that bug me a little bit about the industry. I'm aware that supply and demand is everything. So, if somebody is willing to pay X, I guess it's somebody's right to do it. But I've never really been a big fan of gouging your end consumer or your end customer. It's something I've never really liked. And like I said, creating fake exclusivities and limited edition stuff kind of aggravates the shit out of me. Those are probably the 1 and 2 biggest things that kind of bug me a bit. Because
somehow, some way, there's always more boxes.
Yeah,
and it's the craziest thing because they'll go, "Oh, hey, I found this box at the cigar lounge." And you're like, "Yeah, but they said that those were discontinued."
Yeah, of course. So you'll find, like I said, I'm not going to name any names, or you'll find people that bastardize a cigar brand of something what it used to be, and have it blended and made somewhere else. You have the other cute stuff that really not so much in brick and mortars, but it really happens online and stuff like, hey, MSRP of this cigar is $70, but yours today exclusively $3. Like, really? Just today? I'm like, it's funny. I don't see Davidoff do that. I'm like, if it's a $30 cigar, guess what? It's a $30 cigar. Or Fuente, it's a $28 cigar, $20 cigar. If it's a $18 Liga Privada, it's an $18 Liga Privada. So I don't like any of that other bait and switch silly kind of stuff.
But and just to go back to, one thing that Sanj always says is it's kind of the consumer's fault because the consumers always buy into it.
Well, brands, right? Whenever you do branding and stuff, and look, that's in every industry. It's just easier to see it in the cigar world. But some people like to be seen smoking certain things. You'll have people look you right in the eye. I only smoke Cuban cigars. While they're tapping the Cuban cigar, you're noticing that it's not even a real Cuban cigar. It's fake. So at the end of the day, just like with anything else, the car you drive, the food you eat, the whiskey you drink,
Good night, guys.
it should be
All right,
brother.
nice, Sanj.
All right, much love, my
I
man.
gotta go.
All right.
All right.
Good night. Get home safe, Sanj.
All right, much love, my brother.
Good night.
So,
Tomorrow morning.
so
We need to.
Yeah.
speaking of
You wanna
Cuban
take the
cigars,
shots now?
You wanna
what
start
are some real tells? Like can you tell from the ash, or because everybody goes that a big indicator is the band, but I feel like these companies are getting so good at cloning the bands, the boxes.
And that's some of the funny stuff too. I've had some fucking fantastic frauds.
Yeah.
I've had some, quote Cuban cigars that on their own would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Dominican puros. So it's tough. A lot of people say in the ash, if you have that super white ash, and it's not. It's you really have to know what you're smoking. And look, there's times I've probably even been fooled, and I'm pretty good with it, depending how good it is. But yeah, the cigar bands, like I said, there's so many checks and balances and stuff that actually comes out of Cuba, between the holograms, between the identifiers on the boxes. And again, who's not to say that somebody wasn't able to get their hands on some bands and steal them and put them on somewhere else. So got to kind of look at the construction of the cigar as well. Like I said, some people say, it's the ash, it's the taste. Are you getting, I hate using the word, but people go, oh, does it have that salty Cubanesque taste to it?
Yeah.
You'll hear people use that. And like I said, there's just so much bullshit that's out there.
I've never heard salty when it comes to Cuba.
I've
always heard
salt,
floral.
a little bit of salty finish on it. So, other people are like, dude, because there's lithium in the soil. I just roll my eyes when I hear that one because I don't even know how to verify one like that. I have no clue. And that's, after 30 years, that's me talking like, really? We're going with lithium in the soil? I'm like, all right.
Paulie's on.
Yo, what up there, baby?
Paulie said you should have been there. You should be here.
Hunter, what's up, bro?
Yeah. When you get a Cuban cigar from anyone other than AZ Sal, it's probably a fake. You know what? You're probably right. So we have one guy, AZ, who has a humongous humidor just full of Cubans. And you know what? This is one thing that he said I've never heard before, was actually that he says that like Cubans they'll lose their taste after 20 years, but if you wait another 10 years to like 30 years, they'll get their taste back.
No, I have not heard that before. And typically what happens is after time, like if you ever smoked a pre-embargo Cuban or a cigar that's very, very, very old, it takes a good inch and a half, maybe even more, to get in on that cigar because everything is so aged out and it's been sitting so long.
Yeah.
So I've never heard of the 2010 thing. I mean, is it possible? Like I said, there's certain things, if I don't know, I don't claim to be an expert on. That's the first I've ever heard in it. But again, Father Time, look, the finest wine, you leave it too long, you're getting fucking vinegar, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, I've been, between Sanj and a couple other people, I've been blessed enough to smoke a bunch of pre-embargo Cuban sticks.
Yep.
And like I said, I've noticed that the first inch and a half, maybe a little more in, there's really nothing to it. It's very, very one-dimensional, almost like smoking paper, a little bit of cream on it. Then you have to get a little bit further into it. So no, that's something I'm not sure about. That's something we probably ask Sanj about next time he walks by. But That I had not heard of.
You know, so what is your favorite Cuban, Matty?
Also, another tough one. I have a favorite that people did not like. So, a couple of years back, they did the Cohiba 5, which is a Maduro Cohiba, and for whatever reason, I love the shit out of that cigar. So, again, I haven't seen them in years. I don't even think they make them anymore. But that was up there. I'm always up for a good Bolivar. Everyone talks about Cuban Bahique, so some of the Magnums have been absolutely outstanding. But I've also got some of the newer stuff. Quality control coming out of Cuba is not the way it used to be anymore. So you could get an awful lot of plug cigars coming out of the boxes and everything else. And the way that especially Cohiba and everything else has been going up in price, if you want to smoke an $80 stick, you're going to buy a whole box for $1,200 when 7 or 8 of them plug. So quality control is not quite the same. Quay d'Orsay, that's always been a great stick for me. There's a bunch of good stuff out there. So
John Black wants to know, he's like, can a dry cigar be revisited, or is it a lost cause?
And again, that depends. If it's still sitting, and this is me, if it's still, some people say no, they refuse, but if it's been sitting in its cello and it's literally not a tree branch, because if it's entirely a tree branch, just think about all the essential oils are now entirely out of the stick. But if that thing's still sitting in cello and it's had some of it protected, you could probably go put that in a Ziploc, in a Bovita Ziploc bag, and drop in a Bovita pack and sit on it for a minimum of 90 days and see how it hydrates back out. But if it's a stick that's been sitting out on its own, it's had zero protection to the elements, like I said, in my mind, you're probably not going to be able to get it back to any of its greatness, because all those essential oils and everything else would have leached out of the cigar probably entirely.
Nick says, yeah. He says it depends on how dry it gets. Yeah.
Like I said, that's why you'll see a lot of people fight over cello, no cello, cello, no cello. A lot of people boo me. I'm a cello guy. Yeah. I like to have it in the cello. Like I said, in cases like that, you'll have a little bit more protection against it. Not tons, but enough that if you're ever in the need to save it. And also in the day and age of everyone touching everything, your cigar is protected from 9,000 more sets of fingers and hands being all over it.
Like I had a cigar the other day, and when I first had it, I was like, I'm smoking the first third. It tasted like damn seawater. What was it? Fuck you, Peter.
Oh, we see a little bit of love.
Yeah, fuck you, Peter. But okay, so he said a dry cigar and a neglected cigar are two different things.
Yep, and that's exactly my point. I agree to that. That's why I said the cigar is just left out to the elements, and it's a tree branch. If you try to rehydrate it, it's probably going to be a tree branch.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, neglected. It's been out. It hasn't been sitting at the right humidity, but it's not been wasted out to the elements and everything else. Like I said, you got a shot at getting some love back in it when you properly rehydrate it.
Yeah, Peter, you love tree branches, don't you, Peter? Yeah. Oh, so he said he got some H. Upman's Cubans that's been sitting in the box with no cello.
Box seal. I mean, that's not ancient. Box sealed, box open. I mean, like I said, for me to try it, I'd go take them. I'd go get that Bovita Ziploc bag. I'd drop in either 69% or 72% Bovita pack. Drop it in there. Sit on it 90 days. Take one out after 90 days. See what you got. If it still sucks, wait another 30 days. Try another. And if you're still getting nothing after that. I mean, after a quarter of a year and you're getting nothing, they probably did. But that's what I would do if I was going to try it. That's what I would try.
So he says they're now in 69% humidity. So
which is fine. So like I said, I'd leave it a bit, because it's not going to be a quick process to rehydrate them properly.
So what is your go-to humidity, Matty?
Usually I keep everything between. I have humidors that are at 68% up to 72%. Believe it or not, I like them a little drier. Okay. So for me, probably 68 to 70 is probably great. Some people prefer a little bit more moisture at 72, but I'm good with 68 to 70.
Yeah, I like mine are like 65, 62. So but I don't really, they joke about me all the time because because of the Godfather, it's like I don't believe in humidity, and that's always the great debate.
Well, it depends where you are. Yeah, that's on your environment, man. Look, it even down to how you heat your house. If you have a forced air system, I mean, all that shit actually does make a big difference.
Yeah.
If you don't have, like I said, my place actually I still have my house is 110 years old. I have steam heat. So guess what? There's no forced air blowing out into that environment. So I can get away with not constantly checking in, or I have my wall cabinet, or if my wall cabinet's not what it's supposed to be, because I've been a lazy piece of shit and I haven't looked at it. But again, you live in a place with constant forced air, everything else. I mean, obviously there's a difference if you live in Las Vegas and you live in Miami.
Yeah.
So again, your temperature and humidity matters. You go to a lot of places in Europe that don't have humidification systems. So again, it depends. Environment means an awful lot.
So that's my thing too, because like in countries and like DR stuff like that, they don't use humidification system.
I mean, your average humidity is what you want your cigar at, right? I don't think very often you'll be in the DR where the humidity is under 68%.
Yeah.
You also got to watch out in the opposite end. It gets too humid, you're going to get mold or bugs or shit. So, you don't want that humidity to get too high. You get soft, mushy cigars, you will not be happy smoking or being able to keep them lit.
So, so you were just saying, you were in parts of the world, and I'm pretty sure you've been to Davidoff, London already.
Well, I have not. I did not. Nope.
Really?
When I was in London, I did not make it to Davidoff, dude. Boo me.
Wow. So like, where'd you head to when you were there, man?
Dude, I was there. That's the thing. I'm such a douche. I really, I travel with my cigars so often.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if it's quick trips, I really don't get an opportunity to hit a lot of lounges and stuff. So 9 out of 10 times, or 99 out of 100 times, I'm already traveling with all my own shit. So I'll literally sit on a park bench, or if I'm in a big city, and just soak in everything that's around me. Or if there's a scenic place nearby, like we were just talking about before, and it came in. Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival's coming up. After that, I'll go head up to Breckenridge. I'll go sit outside, stare at the side of the mountain. So I kind of suck with that. There's a lot of great shops that I probably should have gone to throughout the years that I haven't, just simply because I have my giant bag of shit that's that I always travel with.
So how often do people like let's just say you're walking around Miami or walking around Florida, or walking around anywhere where people come up to you like, oh, you're Matty Rock?
A couple of times, like I said, if there's bigger cigar or food communities, people will know. I'll get stopped because, like I said, I look like I should be on the side of a milk bottle as it is. So every now and then you'll be like, "Hey man, what's going on, Matty?" Be like, "Hey, what's going on, dude?" But not super often. Like I said, it's I'm known by a niche group, so every now and then, like I said, if I'm in if I walk through Tampa, I'm gonna say, "Hey, Matty," or I'm in Miami or stuff like that. We have heavily rich cigar communities. I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on, dude?" I mean, I would literally, for what you said to happen, I'd probably have to be in the cigar lounges.
Yeah.
But your average dude walking the streets is just like, hey, this is some guy who crawled out of a dumpster or something. Don't give him any direct eye contact, and maybe he won't bite you.
So, has there been any cigar brands that left that you wish were still around?
Oh, we already talked about my two most endearing ones to me were definitely were Temple Hall. And Royal Jamaican, and the original Grey Cliff. Grey Cliff is back, but it's Grey Cliff will never be what the original Grey Cliff was from back in the late '90s. When I was smoking the PG Reds and the PG Blues and the Grand Crus and all that stuff. I mean, those are some special sticks, bro.
Wow.
I love those sticks. And Grey Cliff obviously back in those days was they still have it in Crystal Palace, where Crystal Palace used to be, but Grey Cliff came out of the Bahamas.
So like certain brands, went away for a little bit, like Ernesto, he used to run, he used to own, La Gloria Cubana before he sold it.
So yeah, there's the changes. Like I said, when you have brands like that, you have to expect changes. When you change your factory or blends, things are going to change. Those are the kind of things that you have to expect. Like if you were smoked years old, La Gloria Cubana is not going to be what you smoke today. As a matter of fact, I think a bunch of the new ones are made at AJ's. So obviously you're going to have a very different profile cigar. when you have a different master blender, when you're blending different countries of origin,
Yeah.
different tobacco, it's just not going to be the same.
So
Not to say it's not good; it's going to be different.
but back in the day, Ernesto, when he first came out with La Gloria Cubana, you know, where were those ones from? If you know.
I don't remember where his factory is. I want to say he was at a DR, but
Okay.
I can't say with absolute certainty. And like I said,
Yeah.
it's going to be under his control and his blendings. That's why I said you notice that if you smoke one from then and you smoke one today, you're going to get cigars very, very different flavor profiles. Like I said, if memory serves correctly, AJ makes some of them now out of Nicaragua.
You know, so many people use AJ's tobacco, and to me, when it comes to AJ's tobacco, he has a footprint.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, he's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the newer factories in Nicaragua. So you know, AJ has his own profiles that he uses. That's why so many people use AJ to blend their cigars.
Well, and I mean, my footprint is that because it has that spice.
You know, kind of. Yeah, now I get what you're saying. Like,
You know,
like the people dab it up, say, hey, you know, I get a lot of sweet hay in this. You'll get, you'll talk when people talk pepin, you'll talk about white pepper. So yeah, certain blenders definitely have a certain signature to them, right?
Yeah, you know, like, you know, because you know, like Hector from Espinosa, you know, like, you know, I always give credit for Hector, even though he uses AJ's tobacco, he puts his own little twist on it.
Whenever somebody has a tweak, and that's why I said that's the difference between all these master blenders and what they do. They could use stuff, like I said, you could give two master blenders the same exact resources, and their sticks are going to taste different.
Totally different.
So their technique is going to be different. So it's always going to wind up a little bit different.
Oh, hold on. All right. So the SP Red is made by Chico Rivas, and that is a Dominican Puro. And then he has some made also in DR by Eladio Diaz out of Eladio's factory. And then, you know, because and those are the two blenders that Sanj uses, you know, that he works with to make his cigars. So you know, I believe you know, Eladio made the Charisma. He also made the Antra, and he made the Black.
Mm-hmm.
So
I see another question. I can't read it because I'm old.
Gotcha. So he says you mentioned Royal Jamaica. Can you talk about the tobacco in that cigar?
Yeah. So Jamaican, like I said, I really miss Jamaican tobacco. So Jamaican tobacco, to me, I absolutely love the taste. These sticks in their nature were medium body, very bright and citrusy tasting, smooth with some creamy notes. Now, to me, those are one of those cigars you could smoke anytime, Breck. You know, have it with a cup of coffee, finish it off with dinner. It's so hard to say what I could compare that to today with being fair, just because, like I said, you know, it's hard enough to match up tobaccos in the same country, even if they're from different regions. So that Jamaican tobacco. So I don't know if you know any tobacconers by you that have very, very old collections. So you might not be able to find Royal Jamaicans or Temple Halls, but they may have some old Macanudos. And if they do have the old Macanudos on the bottom of the box, it says made in Jamaica, try one and you're going to get exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to get, like I said, you're going to get those crisp, creamy kind of like floral notes on it. I really can't compare any other tobacco out there like it. So for me, you know, it was very endearing shit to me. That was some of my favorite stuff in the 90s.
So okay, so Nick X is okay. So that was I don't think I'll give anything behind the veil, but that was Sanjay's plan, was for each, I wouldn't say every year, but the Alta line was going to be a special cigar that's going to be made in a different vitola every 2 or 3 years. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's
Sanjay will kill you, he'll stab you dead.
Exactly. So don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. And Nick says that they just legalized Jamaican tobacco in Missouri.
I think that Jamaican. Are we talking about the other other Jamaican tobacco? Wink, wink.
Yeah. That'd be pretty interesting, though. Now, But the only problem there is if they legalize it in Missouri, it's gonna be an arm and a leg just because of the fact that they have to ship it here and roll it here.
Now, when we say Jamaican, I got to make sure because it's 2025.
Yeah.
And when we say Jamaican tobacco, are we talking weed or are we talking actual Jamaican tobacco? It's a reasonable question. I don't know if it's a keyword.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say 1998 or 99 is when it got moved over. I want to say that. So when I was down there in the late 90s, that's when all the labor disputes and everything else was happening. So I want to say, yeah, I would have to look that up, and I'm going to say sometime in the late 90s. After 96, so I'm going to say somewhere in between 97 to 98, 99.
Oh, he said yes.
Yeah, I said, look, who's thinking it?
Oh,
See, look, I'm a straight up student, and I knew you were talking about Sticky Icky. Come on, bro.
Oh man, Nick, yeah. Nick's a good dude, man. I like Nick.
See, you missed the.
Oh, you know what? Hey,
Bomba Clutch, you missed the Sticky Icky bye.
Nick, this is the guy that you got to talk barbecue with. Matty knows all the barbecue. So Nick swears by a few places out in Missouri. He said I think it was one place closed down for a little bit, but because he's out in St. Louis.
Oh, Brenner's?
It might be Brenner's. Oh, take it easy. I'm a Cowboy fan. Here we go. He said I started.
Yeah. So yeah. Now, if you remember that stick, like I said, now if you smoke Macanudos today, you'll notice that a Macanudo today, although they're still good, I'm not hating on them. They're definitely not Jamaican tobacco, right? You get an entirely different profile off of it.
So he says Q39 and
Jones, Sam Jones.
Yep. So he said Joe's KC.
I thought I saw. I saw Sam Jones.
Yeah, he said Joe's KC is his two go-to spots for KC.
I haven't been out to KC in a minute, so now I know places I got to go hit.
Mm-hmm. So it's so interesting that just the way that Macanudo has kind of, since that change, you always talk about like I wouldn't say it hasn't been the same since they were able to get that Jamaican
Macanudo, right, is always about, so they started the new footprint with being Dominican tobacco, but they've always been pretty good about making their stuff very, very reliable across the board, right? So you always know what you're going to get, right? A lot of people say that they love the consistency of Macanudo.
Well, that's the same thing with Perdomo, and all of us say the same thing, and we always like, man, we wish Nick would just try something, just throw it at the market and see how to take it, because Nick is very consistent, but you know what you're going to get when you smoke a Perdomo. You know what you're going to get.
And if you, like I said, if you know it sells and you have your niche, there's a lot of cigar manufacturers that are very happy just having their niche, right?
Wow. You said, I wish I had kept my old car. Now I wish I kept my old cigars.
Yeah, we all do, bro. 100%.
He says my local B&M has Macanudos from 1986, and he's selling them for $65 a stick. Is it worth the buy, Matty? Is it worth the buy?
See, I hate stuff like that, because if you truly enjoy it, I would buy one just for the experience. So if you haven't smoked it before, you haven't had the Jamaican tobacco, you're smoking, obviously take a solid, hard look at them, make sure the cigars are in good condition. They've been well taken care of. Then for me, I'd say try at least once. Don't be go buying 10 or 20 of them. You try one and then you see if you like. And from 86, you got a lot of age on there. So the first inch or two. Remember what I said? After a cigar gets more than like 25 years old, it loses a little bit off of it because it's been sitting so long. So first inch of that stick, you might not get an awful lot on, but then it'll start coming through. And again, it's got to be something like, so you got the historical aspect of it too. So,
one thing Ernesto says, he says, the difference between today's smoker and, older smokers is they had the patience to get through that first third. because the first third normally wasn't. The cigar usually didn't open up until after the first third was done.
Well, that's why you always hear people say, "Hey, you have to be a little patient with it," right? You hear people say that, "Hey, be a little patient of it." Hey, did it open up yet? Right? You're gonna hear all the old guys. Did it open up yet? Right? You hear it a lot. The older guys. Did it open up yet? So yeah, I really don't. I very, very rarely judge a cigar, on the first couple of puffs, And again, I've had cigars that if I'm getting nothing or I don't enjoy it after I'm like 2 inches into it, I'm probably going to give up on it, to be honest. That's just me. And I admit it. I do. There's so much great stuff out there now, more than ever, to smoke. I don't know if I could, or I might pitch it. I might pitch that one, but I might pick one up again another time. See, maybe I got a dud. Maybe my taste buds are off that day. Maybe my palate was friggin' shocked from smoking too much other shit that day. So I'll always try something more than once.
Yeah.
But again, so if I do the same thing, same cigar, and I'm 2 inches through it, I'm like, I'm not digging it, I'm not going to force myself to smoke it. Right? You're not going to eat something that you don't like the taste. You're not going to drink something you don't like. So for me, after a bit, I'd probably pitch.
So even when you say it hasn't opened up yet, you feel like if it hasn't opened up within the first 2 inches.
Now think about that. Would that be one of your go-to cigars where you tell, hey, these cigars are great after you get through, an eighth of the cigar or a tenth of the cigar? I mean, if it's that magically that amazing afterwards, maybe. But ask yourself if you want your first, 20 fucking drags, 30 drags to be unenjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ate food, you want your first 5 bites to suck and then it's great.
Yeah.
I kind of think the same way with that. So again, unless it's something that's absolutely mind-boggling, I would.
Well, everybody feels like
that. And I kind of agree with that. If it's shitty, like I said, and again, I will never judge a stick if I've only smoked one. Mm-hmm. Like I said, have a shit one in the batch. There's a million different environmental things that could be me. It could be, like I said, what I ate, what I drank. Maybe the cigar was treated like shit in transport. I don't know. So I will try at least one more at a later date. If I have the same experience, I'll probably be done with it. And again, I don't really go shit talking. Anyone who's followed me on social media knows I don't go around shit talking anybody's brand or anybody's sticks. You like what you like. I don't get to tell you what you like. That's why in 30 years of smoking, you've never seen me write a cigar review. I'll tell you something's body, if it's mild, medium, or full. I'll tell you if it has a great, if it's always consistently a solid cigar. But outside of that, you're going to like what you like. Some people, like I said, some people like Lajero bombs. Some people like that sweet hay taste. There's certain profiles that some people love that just are not for me. But I'm not going to say they're not great cigars. It just means it doesn't work for me.
Exactly. Yeah. That's always the hard part when it comes to reviewers, because when you have, like I'll always say, like me and Rob have very similar palates. Like me and Rob have very similar palates. So I know, if he doesn't like it, there's a good chance that I'm not gonna like it. Paul picks out gems all the time, and I go, Paul, what do you think? He goes, no, it's not it. And I know if Paul gives me the head nod that it's not it, I know.
No, he just gives you that nod when he catches you trying to steal money out of his wallet. I know.
No, you don't want to do that.
I already see Paul has no patience for us already. He's like, "Can you guys go home already?"
Exactly.
Right, Paul? Mm-hmm. Paul? Yeah. See that? Mm-hmm. That actually meant Matty, shut the fuck up. See, I speak Paul fluently.
Yeah. And I always call it the gym. What's that? Warp has a cigar. Paul, you know the name of that one?
Huh?
The Warp cigar that we call it Hidden Gem.
The Leo result.
The what?
The Leo.
The Lilio.
Leo.
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 Lilio.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a real. It's a pretty Corona.
a petite Corona, and Paul goes. He goes. I smoked this the other day. Get this one to try. It's not like the normal Warp stuff. And man, like when Paul refers people to that cigar, I give him a look. I'm like, yo, Paul, you can't be dropping dimes, man. You cannot be having dimes. Yeah, but Matty, we're at the 2-hour mark. Sammy, have a good night. Give the kids a kiss for me, all right? Oh, what did he say? Don't say warp too loud, JD was sure.
Yo, I hear that. Yo, Hokey, what you talking about, son?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things, man, where, you know, there's so many cigars out, and it's just like, you know, it's a journey. It's a journey. But guys, 2-hour mark. Matty, this is long overdue.
Much love, my brother.
Thank you so much. Hey, guys, go to the bio link in Matty Rock 2K. Pick up the coffee. Pick up this right here. Try it cold brew. Try it hot. I can smell the chocolate through the bag.
Let me know what you think.
And he answers DMs, man. You know, so after you buy it, you try it, let him know. Man, this smells amazing. It really does.
Much love, everybody.
Much
Thanks for
love.
tuning in.
Thank you guys. I
Much
appreciate it.
appreciated.